the public sector taught us a great story. And I give you a simple example. All of us have heard of a company called Hindustan Latex. It took the success story of Hindustan Latex for others to come into that space. So I think we have done great things in the past. We are doing great things now. But I think the problem is daunting. So we will take our time. See, Israel is about the size of half of Surendra's Mylapore. So we can't compare Singapore. It is 3 of my Basula roads. You run fast, you're out of the country. So a good marathon runner will get out of the country in 45 minutes. So what are we talking about? So it's easy to sit and do this, but I think India is a great story of success, and we are respected around the world for our successes. Our unity in our diversity is still a great tale to tell everywhere. And I always believe that if you forget history, history will never forgive you. So I think we need to be proud about the fact that we have done we have a great story to tell. So I think we will get there at some point of time. But one great thing is, India got into, when I came back to India in 1984, I had to butter 2 members of parliament to get a telephone connection, to get my business going. Because the MPs had something called out of turn quota or something like that. I got to butter 2 MPs, and they were friends of mine. They didn't collect money. They gave it to me for free. But by that time, America was on the periphery of getting into mobility. But by being late entrants, we skipped an entire cycle of technology. We didn't get into this mess of CDMA. We got in straight to GSM. So, madam, arriving late will have its own advantages. So have faith and patience.
So I'm with you completely, and I'm a very proud Indian in terms of what we have achieved. I think I didn't state it clearly enough. My question is more on, we're not doing enough research in our country of everything.
Okay, I'll tell you something. You're right. And this is exactly what I said, but maybe I was not explicit as I might have liked to, or you might have liked. India's R&D is an abysmally low 0.7% of the GDP.
Yes.
The rest of the globe is at about 4 to 6, 7%, the more successful ones. I've suggested this just 3 weeks ago to the finance minister. I said, there is an easy way of doing it. As you will, Sri, you will agree, the startups end when they are ready with the prototype. And many of us here have done engineering, and I can narrate my own story. In partial fulfillment of our degree requirement, we were asked to do a project in the final year. I did something called the aerial camera. I got my S, which is 80 plus, and at that time I thought I had burnt 1,500 of my dad's money to build that prototype, dumped it in the lab, got it to my bike, and came home and disappeared forever. That modified is the modern day drone.
Wow.
Now, what I'm saying is, if companies can adopt these products, what we call as lab to market, it's there in the lab, let companies start spending money and take it to market and assess its usefulness, brand it and market it, allow that to be treated as R&D expenditure, you will find buckets and buckets of money coming into this space. The Prime Minister and the Finance Minister liked it. But again, now look at that. If that expenditure of the company on that product is allowed to be written off in the balance sheet as R&D, India's R&D expenditure will jump to about 3% in the interregnum and about 6-7% and we will be global players. See, a lot of things take time in a democracy. I think we're still happy being a democracy. So,
Yeah, thank you.
That was a wonderful suggestion. It's actually disruption. It's one of the way how you disrupt by taking in the technology directly from the lab instead of going through the R&D process and spending another 10 years. Yeah, I have a question from Rotarian Vinod Kumar. He's in the Zoom. He is in the information technology industry. If your business is in the IT services sector, what should disruption mean for you?
say again.
If you are a business in the IT service sector, what should disruption mean for you?
We know it means opportunity. Plain and simple. But you have to be agile, as I said. Anticipate the disruption, get ready, prepare, launch, adopt. Technology is all about anticipating a change and preparing yourselves for it. It's like a war. And disruption is the enemy. So you anticipate and overcome it by going in. That is where, Vinod, that deep spend, reinvesting in business. See, all too often I've seen in India, when I remember when the first wave of IT came in early 90s, perhaps, people made their bucks, they went and bought S-class cars. And then they disappeared in the cars. But those who reinvested stayed the course. So I think be happy with the profits, but remember, all of it is not yours. It has to be reinvested in your business. Anticipate the disruption and ride the wave of disruption.
Thank you so much. Sujita? Yeah. Can we have the mic for Sujita?
I have the mic.
Yes, one? Yeah.
Sir, very, I should say, a talk that we'll all go back and have to analyze a lot, because it was quite high funded for most of us. So I have a question.
But remember, it was not high funder. You know how the telephone works, right?
Yeah, I know. That's why we'll have to go back and think about a lot of things, because it was really very, how to say, a deep thought that went into your talk. My question here is, like, I'm an architect and I believe in still in drawing with my hands, whereas the younger generation is all into software. So similarly, in all the industries, I'm seeing that there's a lot of technology being used. So I just want to understand, like, the youngsters, I feel a lot of them are hiding behind technology most of the time.
Take a small commercial.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So
I have an 8:30 engagement with the governor of Pondicherry.
Oh.
So I'm just trying to get it done.
So I just want to understand, like, the youngsters, I see a lot of them hiding behind technology. And at one point, they're actually breaking loose and going back to being with the nature. And I just want to understand how we bring a balance between the growth of technology and how we still connect to nature and the traditions and culture. How can we hold this? Like, just your view on this, sir. Thank you.
Sujita, it's a tough question. The toughest I've faced in a long time. But having said that, I'll tell you something. The velocity of change, as I said, is very intense. And a few weeks ago, I had my father's memorial lecture where Dr. Rangarajan, former governor of RBI, said, if we don't adopt technology, somebody else will adopt, and his goods and services will be more competitive than yours, and you will be left behind. So I think India's growth has come because we moved into the telecom space, introduced the IT revolution, and came about adopting IT in the mid-80s. And adopted it with greater aggression as the first cycle of reforms came. You cannot prevent technology from coming in. And you have to chill it out. But with respect to culture, everything, you will have to find time. Today, learning is the fastest. Access to information is the best. So it's all about what they call as syntropy, managing time for everything. I still find, I mean, somebody like me, the only time I prayed was when I reversed my car. I still find time to accompany my wife whenever she compels me to go on a temple expedition. So I think we must adopt culture, we must adopt everything, and adopt technology. If you don't adopt technology, I think it will leave you behind. Can you be without your phone? Try. It's not for entertainment, it's for communication. Today, everything is palm held. And you'll be left out. So I think you cannot prevent technology from overpowering you. That's the great business opportunity. And you have to balance it out with everything else.
Chief guest has got an appointment with the Pondy governor, I think. Do we have Surendra? One last question. Surendra, you can't refuse because he's voted for you.
No, I'll answer this question. No, I can't. I can't go with a guilty conscience. Yeah. Yeah, Suri.
Is it audible? Yeah.
In fact, the great thing is, at the risk of getting disqualified, I can tell you, he called me to his house, gave me a beer and said, here is your vote, take it and send it to the governor,
Thank you, Ganapathi. You are such a lovely person. We could not have voted for anybody else other than you. The point is, what she was trying to ask is, today we have technology, absolutely fine. So take my field. Somebody is doing, this is the patta, this is the land it should be divided on. Fine. It's there on paper. But somebody has to come and execute on the land and nobody knows it.